हेलो। वेलकम बैक गाइस, वेलकम बैक। स्वागत है आप सभी का वापस एक और नए लाइव स्ट्रीम पे। एंड होपफुली मेरी आवाज सही से आ रही है। ओके। नॉर्थ ईस्ट प्रो सीरीज के वाइल्ड कार्ड राउंड के चालन होता हुआ। एंड पहली मैच यहाँ पे रंगल के मैप पे फिलहाल के लिए फाइट्स भी काफी सारे इनिशिएट होते हुए मिल्टा के साइड पे भी फाइट देखने को मिल रही है। ओके। भिड़ंत रचती हुई टीम मार्कोस ई स्पोर्ट्स एंड नेक्सस के बीच में 1v2 की फाइट। पंप शॉटगन का इस्तेमाल, दो प्लेयर्स को डाउन किया जाएगा। एंड अब 1v1 की आखिरी फाइट में हेल्थ कम थी इमो एक्सी की। एंड शायद से अगर यार होती तो यहाँ पे भाग्यशाली साबित हो सकते थे, बट NXS एंड फेमस डूइंग द राइट थिंग, स्विचिंग टू द M4 पंप शॉटगन या तो डबल बैरल शॉटगन का इस्तेमाल किया था उन्होंने पहले। बट you know, when you lose when you miss two of your bullets, it's never going to connect. And yes, it was a wise thing to actually switch to M4. अब तीन खिलाड़ी जीवित रहेंगे उस टीम से। वैसे आप देखिए सर्कल बनी है एक ईस्टर्न दिशा की तरफ, जो स्कूल के या तो आप बोल सकते हो शेल्टर के आसपास के जो एरियाज को सेंटर में लेते हुए बनी है। एंड बहुत सारे ऐसे टीम्स है जो अभी तक सर्कल के अंदर आई नहीं है। एंड इनफैक्ट रोटेशंस चालू करनी पड़ेगी अर्ली इस पर्टिकुलर मैच में। be quite crucial for them, for all these teams. Meanwhile, God building की तरफ फाइट इनिशिएट होता हुआ। एंड खैर खत्म भी हो चुकी है फाइट। टीम सीटी के गोइंग हेड टू हेड अगेंस्ट KS7 ऑफिशियल, जिसमें KS7 का पे खात्मा हुआ है। बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली सीटी डायाब्लो को यहाँ पे खो दिया सीटी के स्क्वाड ने। वैसे दो ही फिनिशेस मिले हैं प्रॉबेबली। ओके, बाकी प्लेयर्स किसी और के खाते से एलिमिनेट हुए हैं। बट या ठीक ठाक शुरुआत। Not the best of trades, I would say. I mean, you lost one of your player for getting two finish points. Not the best trades, definitely. Meanwhile, CT के एक खिलाड़ी CT एलीट के काफी ज्यादा बुरी तरह से फंस चुके हैं। एंड बच निकलने की चांसेस बहुत कम लग रहे हैं इनके। सामने तीन प्लेयर्स एग्रेस करने के प्रयास, एक को किया गया डाउन, बट बाकी प्लेयर्स के से भिड़ंत रचाने में दिक्कत साबित होता हुआ। बट पीछे से बैकअप की आगमन सीटी एलीट्स, क्या ही बढ़िया टाइमिंग यहाँ पे बाकी प्लेयर्स के द्वारा बचाते हुए फीटस को। नहीं तो आप लिख के ले लीजिएगा, यहाँ पे पेटी बनना तय था फीटस का। इन्होंने एक खिलाड़ी को नॉक किया, अगर नॉक नहीं किया होता तो शायद से कहानी थोड़ी सी अलग भी हो सकती थी। बट यहाँ एक 4v3 की फाइट को अंजाम तक पहुंचाते हुए सीटी एलीट्स अच्छी खासी शुरुआत है। ऑलरेडी एक खिलाड़ी को उन्होंने खो दिया है, एक कैजुअलिटी दैट कागा के तौर पे। लेट अस सी हाउ दैट विल अफेक्ट देम। बट या द सेकंड जोन भी थोड़ी देर में कटने वाली है। बट यूजुअली जो सेकंड जोन रहती है उसकी जो डायमीटर है वो फर्स्ट जोन के कंपैरिजन में उतना ज्यादा छोटा नहीं रहता है। एंड आप उतने ज्यादा अंदाजा नहीं लगा सकते कि कहाँ पे एंड सर्कल बनने वाली है। बट काफी ज्यादा वेस्टर्न शिफ्ट हुआ है ये अगला सर्कल, स्लाइटली इंडिकेटिंग दैट मे बी स्कूल के तरफ भी जा सकती है ये पर्टिकुलर सर्कल। बट मीनवाइल लेट्स गो टुवर्ड्स वेन। टीम वेन एम्प्टी फियर को आप एलिमिनेट कर दिया गया वेन के द्वारा। एंड और भी प्लेयर्स है जरूर। एम्प्टी दैट इज टीम एग्जिस्ट एक और खिलाड़ी को करेंगे डाउन। वेन के वाज अ ब्रिलियंट ड्रॉप शॉट जिसके तहत अभी तक सरवाइव करते हुए नजर आ रहे, नहीं तो जरूर एलिमिनेट हो सकते थे। एंड सही टाइम पे बैकअप की भी आगमन जिसके तहत एग्जिस्ट की स्क्वाड अब अकेले खिलाड़ी इनके बचे रहेंगे एग्जिस्ट के जेस्टर। इनफैक्ट इट इज अ 1v3 बट एक और टीम की भी मौजूदगी, थोड़ी सी संभल के खेलनी जरूर पड़ेगी यहाँ पे जेस्टर को। सर्कल के अंदर भी जाना है, इतने सारे प्लेयर्स हैं आसपास, सो इट इज क्वाइट अ नेचुरल टेंडेंसी टू लूज योर कंपोजर। एंड गलती आप कर सकते हो, बट देखते हैं एनीवेज अकेले खिलाड़ी क्या करने वाला है। बट या एक्सिस के बाकी प्लेयर्स तो एलिमिनेट किए गए। सोलो वर्सेस स्क्वाड की गेम प्ले दिखानी पड़ेगी एम्प्टी चेस्टर को। लेट अस सी हाउ दैट गोस फॉर दिस प्लेयर। क्या लगता है गाइस, कमेंट करके बताना आपको क्या लगता है कि कौन जीतने वाला है इस मैच में। होपफुली मेरी आवाज आ रही हो, या आ रही है। ओके, यासनाय की तरफ सीटी के ऑलरेडी थी, एक और टीम की भी एंट्री यहाँ पे आता हुआ। के जी खालोक्टिक ग्लैडिएटर। नॉट श्योर क्या इनको एग्जैक्टली पता है यहाँ पे एक और टीम की मौजूदगी के बारे में। सो लेट अस सी क्या जो 4v4 की फाइट है उसकी इनिशिएशन हमें देखने को मिलेगा या नहीं। मीनवाइल सीटीके के प्लेयर्स इन्होंने 2 फिनिश पॉइंट्स उठाए, उसके बाद बहुत ज्यादा स्प्लिट चले गए। थोड़ी सी दिक्कत जरूर हो सकती है अगर एक प्लेयर के ऊपर पूरी स्क्वाड रश करने की प्रयास करे तो। अब देखते हैं सिटी के ब्लास्ट सबसे ज्यादा पास ये है केजी के स्क्वाड के। एंड इनफैक्ट अगर इनको स्पॉट किया जाएगा यहाँ से नॉक होने की खतरा जरूर मंडराती हुई इनके ऊपर। एंड probably has absolutely no idea about the other team that is around this place. Let us see how it goes anyway. बट यहाँ सारे ऑलमोस्ट सारे प्लेयर्स आ चुके हैं सर्कल के आसपास। नॉर्दर्न जगहों पे बहुत सारे टीम्स है, सदर्न एरियाज पे उतने ज्यादा नहीं है। फ्लैंक्स वेस्टर्न और ईस्टर्न एरियाज पे सर्कल के वहां पे भी बहुत सारे टीम्स। सो इंटरेस्टिंगली मिड एरियाज को अभी तक किसी ने ऑक्यूपाई नहीं किया है। एंड एक टीम है जो ऑलरेडी जहाँ पे थे वहीं वहीं पे होल्ड करते हुए दिख रहे हैं, जो सीटी की स्क्वाड। एंड इनको लग रहा है कि मे बी इस दिशा पे बन सकती है, विच इज क्वाइट अंडरस्टैंडेबल क्योंकि जो पहली सर्कल बनी थी नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न दिशा की तरफ बनी थी। एंड it is possible that the next circles may just form towards these areas. But yeah, let us see किनके जो predictions है सबसे ज्यादा सटीक रहने वाले हैं। Meanwhile, closing towards Team CT के आर KG खालॉक्टिक ग्लैडिएटर। एंड अभी तक इस टीम को अंदाजा नहीं लगा है। केजी की स्क्वाड इंतजार कर रहे हैं कि कब एक खिलाड़ी उस यस गाड़ी के अंदर बैठेगा, पर नहीं। बहुत बड़ी गलती, बहुत बड़ी चूक। नॉक निकालनी चाहिए थी यहाँ पे। Things can never get easier than that. I mean, probably the most straightforward knock that ड्रैगन अपने कैरियर में देखे होंगे। बट क्यूबीजी होने की वजह से शायद से थोड़ी सी दिक्कत हुई वहां पे, रिकॉइल कंट्रोल करने में असक्षम रहे। एंड नाओरम सिंस वो काफी जल्दी से बाहर निकले, उसकी वजह से थोड़ा सा और आसान हुआ इनके लिए बुलेट्स डॉज करने के। बट दैट शुड हैव बीन अ नॉक। अगर नॉक निकाल देते तो जरूर रश आ सकती थी केजी के स्क्वाड की तरफ से। एंड यस, अब भांप लिया है केजी के स्क्वाड ने कि चांस नहीं है, अब जोन के अंदर भी जाना पड़ेगा क्योंकि अगला जोन जो है सदर्न दिशा की तरफ कटी है। पोटैटो हिल inside the circle, probably one of the teams will definitely go towards the circle, Koyam Esports आए तो है पोटैटो हिल के आसपास. माइट बी अ क्रूशियल एरिया टू होल्ड. मीनवाइल फार्म के आसपास भी बहुत सारे टीम्स जाने वाले हैं. बाकी डब्ल्यू बी की स्क्वाड, थिंक इट्स वाइट ब्लड शायद से. वी ब्लाइंडर्स, ओके. डब्ल्यू ब्लाइंडर्स फार्म के वेस्टर्न एरिया को होल्ड करते हुए. तो यूजुअली यहाँ पे एक शॉप रहती है, तो अगर किसी के पास लूट की कमी है तो वो शॉप से अपने जो लूट है उसको पूरा भी कर सकते हैं. बट या there is always the risk of some other players going towards the hill side. एंड हिल साइड से इस पर्टिकुलर कंपाउंड को कंटेस्ट करना काफी ज्यादा आसान रहता है. एंड अगर इस टीम को पता नहीं रहता उस चीज के बारे में तो काफी ज्यादा दिक्कत में इनको डाला जा सकता है. क्रिस्पी यहाँ पे थोड़ी सी टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स लगाने के प्रयास कर रहे हैं, काफी ज्यादा मेहनत मशक्कत करते हुए. अब क्या इतना टाइम इनको मिलेगा कब तक? तब तक कोई अगर स्पॉट करके इनको नॉक करेगा तो बहुत ज्यादा कॉमिकल जरूर रह सकती है. मीनवाइल टीईसी की स्क्वाड इनकी एंट्री होती हुई सर्कल के अंदर नॉर्दर्न दिशा की तरफ उतरे थे, टुवर्ड्स कामिश की. वहां से रोटेशन अपने तय करते हुए, इफ आई शो यू द रोटेशंस, ओके, टुवर्ड्स टॉलबर इनफैक्ट. वहां से उतर उतर के अपने रोटेशंस तय करते हुए मीनवाइल सदर्न दिशा की तरफ फिर से फाइट इनिशिएट होता हुआ CWG मिड रेंज की फाइट नजर आती हुई. नेक्सस की स्क्वाड पहले कैजुअलिटी का पे सामना करना पड़ा है. बट क्या, एज आई सेड, फार्म के आसपास के कंपाउंड्स पे भी बहुत सारे फाइट्स रहने वाले हैं. एंड teams will definitely eye to actually get a good position in these areas. एंड सिंस ये थोड़े से एलिवेटेड पोजीशंस में रहते हैं तो यहाँ पे आपको होल्ड करने में ज्यादा दिक्कत भी नहीं होगी. बट मीनवाइल के जी फाइट अवॉइड करके आए सर्कल के अंदर, बट टीईसी के स्क्वाड के साथ मुलाकात यहाँ पे होता हुआ. एंड दो प्लेयर्स बैक टू बैक नॉकआउट. अब तीसरे प्लेयर को भी टेक डाउन किया जाएगा. ब्रैड ओ अब आखिरी खिलाड़ी बचते हुए. एंड एक 1v4 की फाइट. पीछे ब्लेज भी मौजूद है. क्या इन्होंने स्पॉट किया है उस खिलाड़ी को? अभी तक तो नहीं. टीसी के प्लेयर्स 10 टैलेस के ऊपर गोली चलाने के प्रयास. एंड खैर केजी के स्क्वाड का भी एलिमिनेशन खालोटिक ग्लैडिएटर समाप्त होते हुए इस मैच से. वेन के स्क्वाड लगातार इनकी क्लोज रेंज की फाइट नजर आती हुई. एंड शायद से इन्होंने अपने एनिमी को एलिमिनेट किया है. जी नहीं, अभी तक तो नहीं. बट इन्होंने अगर CWG को एलिमिनेट नहीं किया तो भी एक और स्क्वाड आएगी नेक्सस के तौर पे. एंड जी हाँ, टीम नेक्सस ये थर्ड पार्टी बहुत ज्यादा दिक्कतदायक साबित होगी वेन के स्क्वाड के लिए. एक 2v3 की फाइट रहने वाली है. नीड से बूबू थोड़े से उथल पुथल करने के प्रयास करेंगे, बट खैर इन फेमस गाड़ी चला के उन्होंने स्पॉट किया उस खिलाड़ी को जो रिवाइव दे रहे थे बहुत प्यारी तरीके से. शायद से उनको लगा कि इनको देखा नहीं जा रहा था, बट इन फेमस बहुत बढ़िया एक आसान सी फिनिश पॉइंट सिक्योर करते हुए अपनी टीम के लिए. एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली ऑक्यूपाइंग एन एरिया इनसाइड द सर्कल दैट कैन पोटेंशियली बी कंपाउंड टुवर्ड्स द एंड सर्कल एज वेल. देखिए, जब आप फिनिशेस इकट्ठा करते हो तब आप एक और टीम को एलिमिनेट करके इकट्ठा करते हो, तो उतनी ज्यादा ज्यादा स्पेस बन जाती है सर्कल के अंदर आपके लिए. एंड ऑल्सो inching your way towards the hashtag one position, that's what it means, eliminating a squad. एंड कॉन्फिडेंस की तो बात ही अलग रहती है जब आप एक स्क्वाड को एलिमिनेट करते हो. 6 फिनिशेस ऑलरेडी है नेक्सस के स्क्वाड के पास. एंड जिस एरिया से रश किए थे वहां पे फिर से वापस जाते हुए, क्योंकि वहां से स्काउट करने का इनको मौका मिलेगा जरूर. वन स्प्लिट से फाइट्स लेने की प्रयास, जोन कीप की जो सिनारियो से उसको एग्जीक्यूट करना चाहते हैं CT स्क्वाड. ये भी एंट्री लेना चाहते हैं इस सर्कल के अंदर, बट नेक्सस की टीम एक बहुत बड़ी बाधा बनती हुई CT के स्क्वाड के लिए. देखते हैं इस टीम के साथ कैसे उनकी फाइट रहने वाली है. एक और टीम भी है उसी दिशा पे, गैंग प्रो की स्क्वाड. काफी शांत रहे पूरे मैच में. अब जाके शायद से फाइट लेनी पड़ सकती है इनको। अब सवाल ये है कि किस टीम के साथ इनके पहले फाइट होने वाली है। विल इट बी सीटी, विल इट बी टीम नेक्सस? इनफेमस मीनवाइल फिनिशिंग ऑफ एसएलएक्स ब्लेज। तो या वो खिलाड़ी एक्चुअली जोन के बाहर थे, जोन के बाहर से रोटेशन देने के प्रयास थी एंड काफी लेट आए शायद से। यूजुअली सोलो प्लेयर्स दे टेंड टू गिव द लेट रोटेशंस। मीनवाइल जैसे कि बोला था, सर्कल बना है नेक्सस के खेमे में एंड they are ready, they are waiting for their chance to get this chicken dinner. Let us see, will they actually occupy the hashtag one title? Meanwhile, Koyam Esports थोड़े से गड़बड़ी करते हुए शायद से मे बी कैलकुलेशंस में गड़बड़ी हुई है। इनिशियली प्रॉब्ली थॉट दैट कि वो कंपाउंड फ्री है, या तो वहां पे रश कर सकते हैं, बट उसके बाद उनको यू नो इस शाख के तरफ अपनी कदम बढ़ानी पड़ी एंड दिस इज स्टिल अ गुड पोजीशन क्योंकि आसपास कोई है नहीं एंड कवर तो है खैर आपके पास ऑलरेडी है शाक के अंदर। आप आराम से बैठ सकते हो तब तक जब तक कोई पास ना आ जाए, क्योंकि नेड्स की खतरा जरूर रहेगी जब कोई पास आ जाए तो। मीनवाइल सीटीके की स्क्वाड दिक्कतों में, दो प्लेयर्स डाउन। टीसी के साथ इनकी भिड़ंत रचती हुई एंड क्या सीटी के एलिमिनेट हुए? जी नहीं, अभी तक एक और खिलाड़ी है तो सही। सीटी के ब्लेज स्टिल सर्वाइविंग फॉर फ्रॉम हिज टीम। देखना पड़ेगा टीसी के स्क्वाड के जो दो प्लेयर्स बचे हैं उनको क्या वो एलिमिनेट कर पाएंगे। मीनवाइल कुछ और प्लेयर्स का भी एलिमिनेशन, 9 टीम्स मात्र सरवाइव करते हुए इस पर्टिकुलर एंड सर्कल में एंड या जोन की गेट कीपिंग अब चालू होने वाली है सारे टीम से, क्योंकि सर्कल क्लोज इन करना चालू किया है। मीनवाइल केओएफ की स्क्वाड एग्रेस करने के प्रयास टीसी के अकेले प्लेयर के ऊपर, बट जो मौली किया था वो उल्टा खुद के ऊपर डैमेज दे बैठा। बट फाइनली कनेक्शंस ढूंढते हुए केओएफ के साका एनएसटीसी के नर्ड को एलिमिनेट करते हुए, बट नेड्स की भरमार सीटी के ब्लेज विद दैट नेड, बट सीटी फेटर्स को भी नॉक कर दिया। क्या एक और नेड बम्बार्डमेंट यहाँ पे चालू करते हुए सीटी के प्लेयर्स क्या एक और नॉक निकाल सकते हैं? ये है बड़ी सवाल। सो उनके बाहर भी कुछ प्लेयर्स एलिमिनेट होते हुए डब्ल्यूबी के, बट या 2v4 की फाइट है एंड सीटी के एग्रेस करना चाहते हैं। पीछे तो देखिए, पीछे नहीं देखा, आखिरी खिलाड़ी थे एंड खैर उनका भी समाप्ति होता हुआ। सीटी के दे आर ऑन अ रोल, दो ही खिलाड़ी है बट उसके बावजूद 8 फिनिशेस के साथ बढ़िया सी यहाँ पे फाइट रचाते हुए। मीनवाइल नेक्सस दे आर लुकिंग अनफेज्ड, बट जो अगला सर्कल है वो कहीं ना कहीं इनके ऊपर से हटती हुई नजर आ रही है एंड सील फॉक्स नॉक किए जाएंगे। दिस वाज अ वेरी क्रूशियल नॉक फॉर टीम खोएम स्पोर्ट्स। सबसे बड़ी बाधा जो है खोएम स्पोर्ट्स के लिए वो सामने नेक्सस की स्क्वाड रहेगी एंड ये नॉक की वजह से अब नंबर्स थोड़े से कम रहने वाले हैं नेक्सस के लिए। यस, मेलकॉम जो फ्लैंक एंगल थी, वाइड एंगल जो है कोएम स्पोर्ट्स के पास, उसका पूरा फायदा उठाते हुए एंड अब नेक्सस दे हैव टू गेट इनटू द सर्कल। नॉट गोइंग टू बी इजी। रिवाइवल तो दिया है सील फॉक्स को, पर रोटेशंस कैसे देने वाले हैं पॉसिबल नहीं रहने वाला है यहाँ पे एंड जी हाँ, बैक टू बैक दो प्लेयर्स नॉक होते हुए जोन के बाहर ही। इनफैक्ट बुबू भी शायद से नॉक हो जाएंगे। यस, उससे पहले यहाँ पे इन फेमस को एलिमिनेट कर दिया गया खोएम स्पोर्ट्स के द्वारा एंड शायद से अब चिकन डिनर के लिए तैयार है। वैसे डब्ल्यू बी दे आल्सो स्टिल हियर, बट ये क्या कर दिया काका लॉन्ग? आई थिंक स्काउट करने के लिए गए थे, बट इनको अंदाजा नहीं था शायद से कि कहाँ पे एग्जैक्टली वो सोलो प्लेयर बचा है। बट मीनवाइल यस, डीमन ओजी आल्सो गेटिंग नॉक्ड आउट ऑफ डब्ल्यूई ब्लाइंडर्स। आखिरी खिलाड़ी इनके बचे रहेंगे। कोएम इंचिंग देयर वे टुवर्ड्स विक्ट्री। हालांकि उतने सारे फिनिश पॉइंट्स हैं इनके पास, बट द हैशटैग वन इज व्हाट मैटर्स एंड दे विल प्रॉब्ली गेट इट अनलेस एंड अंटिल देयर इज अ मिरेकल। सिटी का प्लेस अगर कुछ कमाल धमाल इनके द्वारा हो गया तभी शायद से कुछ अलग हमें देखने को मिल जाए, बट अदरवाइज ऑड्स फेवरिंग खोएम ई स्पोर्ट्स। सर्कल का भी हल्का सा हिस्सा है इनके पास, तो डेफिनेटली कैन एक्चुअली पुल दिस ऑफ। इनफैक्ट आप देखिए डब्ल्यू बी के स्क्वाड को है जो जोन के बाहर है, इनको सबसे ज्यादा डिस्टेंस तय करनी है, एंड तय करते करते इनके ऊपर गोलियों की जो प्रहार है वो जरूर बढ़ने वाली है। मीनवाइल सिटी के ब्लेज एलिमिनेट कर दिए गए, एंड अब मात्र एक 2v4 की फाइट बची है। शॉटगन की यहाँ पे इस्तेमाल, डॉजर विद दैट नॉक, एंड अब क्रिस्पी आखिरी खिलाड़ी बचे रहेंगे, स्पॉट कर दिए जाएंगे, एंड ड्रॉप शॉट से समाप्त कर दिया जाएगा टीम खोयम। एक शानदार लाजवाब चिकन डिनर के साथ इस वाइल्ड कार्ड राउंड की शुरुआत करते हुए। टोटल ऑफ 4 फिनिशेस, देन यू हैव डब्ल्यू ई ब्लाइंडर्स, दे हैव 3 फिनिशेस। फिर आते हैं सीटीके के स्क्वाड साथ 9 फिनिशेस के साथ, टीसी विद 7, नेक्सस विद 10 फिनिशेस, केओएफ की स्क्वाड एक फिनिश के साथ, सीटी एलीट्स विद 6। फिर आते हैं गन्स के स्क्वाड, एक भी फिनिश नहीं इनके पास, एक्सिस्ट विद अ सिंगल फिनिश, एसएलआर विदाउट एनी फिनिशेस एज वेल, टीम वेन विद 5-7 finishes, CWG with 2, and you have KG with 3, SY with a single finish, KS7 with also a single finish, and then MCE जिनके पास भी एक ही फिनिश है। तो जी हाँ गाइज, यही थी पहली मैच। अब अगले मैचेस थोड़ी देर में चालू हो जाएंगे, तब तक के लिए स्टे ट्यून्ड एंड थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर जॉइनिंग। चलो। दिख रहा है ना सही? हाँ जी, चलो। मीनवाइल केओएफ की स्क्वाड एग्रेस करने के प्रयास टीसी के अकेले प्लेयर के ऊपर, बट जो मौली किया था वो उल्टा खुद के ऊपर डैमेज दे बैठा। बट फाइनली कनेक्शंस ढूंढते हुए केओएफ के साका इस टीसी के नर्ड को एलिमिनेट करते हुए, बट नेड्स की भरमार सीटी के ब्लेज विद दैट नेड, बट सीटी फेटर्स को भी नॉक कर दिया। क्या एक और नेड? यूजुअली सोलो प्लेयर्स दे टेंड टू उथल पुथल करने के प्रयास करेंगे, बट खैर इन फेमस गाड़ी चला के उन्होंने स्पॉट किया उस खिलाड़ी को जो रिवाइव दे रहे थे बहुत प्यारी तरीके से। शायद से उनको लगा कि इनको देखा नहीं दिया। क्या एक और नेड? यूजुअली सोलो प्लेयर्स दे टेंड टू, वहां पे भी बहुत सारे टीम्स, सो खाला ग्लैडिएटर, एंड अभी तक इस टीम को अंदाजा नहीं लगा है कि जी की स्क्वाड इंतजार कर रहे हैं कि कब एक खिलाड़ी उस यस गाड़ी के अंदर बैठेगा, पर नहीं। बहुत बड़ी गलती, बहुत बड़ी चूक, नॉक निकालनी चाहिए थी यहाँ पे इंतजार कर रहे हैं कि कब एक खिलाड़ी उस यस गाड़ी के अंदर बैठेगा, पर नहीं। बहुत बड़ी गलती, बहुत बड़ी चूक, नॉक निकालनी चाहिए थी यहाँ पे हेलो हेलो, वेलकम बैक गाइस, वेलकम बैक। स्वागत है आप सभी का वापस लाइव स्ट्रीम पे। नॉर्थ ईस्ट प्रो सीरीज के वाइल्ड कार्ड राउंड इज लाइव नाउ एंड वी हैव द सेकंड मैच राइट हियर विद अस। मेरा मर के मैप पे चालू होता हुआ फ्लाइट पाथ बनी है प्योर्टो पराइजो से होते हुए टोरे अहुमाड़ा तक। काफी ईस्टर्न ओरिएंटेड फ्लाइट पाथ आप बोल सकते हो उसको। हेलो हेलो, वेलकम बैक गाइस, वेलकम बैक। स्वागत है आप सभी का वापस लाइव स्ट्रीम पे। राइट, पिछले मैच में देखा खोएम ई स्पोर्ट्स बहुत बढ़िया सी एक चिकन डिनर उठाए थे। अब देखते हैं कि इस मैच में कौन सी वो टीम रहेगी जो विजेता साबित होगी। क्या वो खोएम ई स्पोर्ट्स ही रहेंगे या कोई नई टीम उभर के आएगी। वैसे सर्कल जो है ऑलरेडी बन चुकी है एंड जो एग्जैक्ट ऑपोजिट फ्लाइट पाथ के ये सर्कल बनता हुआ बहुत सारे टीम्स रहेंगे सर्कल के बाहर। सिर्फ कुछ चंद टीम्स है जो सर्कल के अंदर आपको नजर आएंगे, जैसे कि पिकाडो के साइड पे स्लेयर की स्क्वाड है एंड ये अकेली स्क्वाड है पिकाडो की तरफ। इनको कंटेस्ट करने के लिए कोई है नहीं। थोड़े से दूर एक और टीम नजर आ रही है, ऑल्स की स्क्वाड, देसी बॉयज। शायद से कंटेस्टमेंट तो होनी नहीं वाली है इन दो टीम्स के बीच में। आई थिंक टीम देसी बॉयज दे वुड वांट टू गेट vehicles and move on to a different area to loot, क्योंकि काफ़ी ज़्यादा ओपन एरियाज है वेस्टर्न साइड ऑफ द मैप पे, जैसे कि चुमासेरा हो, मॉन्टेनुओ हो, एल्पोजो हो। कहीं पे भी जा सकते हैं जहाँ चाहे। अब प्रॉबली चुमासेरा की तरफ ही अपने कदम ये बढ़ा सकते हैं, बट कहाँ पे अर्ली फाइट्स होगी ये एक बड़ी सवाल है। एंड फिलहाल के लिए लॉस लियोनिस एक जगह बनती हुई जहाँ पे अर्ली फाइट इनिशिएट होता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। तो टीम M4 नागा इनके अगेंस्ट टीम STECTK की स्क्वाड, इनके दो टीम्स के बीच में फाइट भिड़ता हुआ। मीनवाइल एक और टीम also getting into the action, team NXT. Wait a second. स्लॉट लिस्ट अलग है क्या? स्लॉट में है वो वाले टीम्स तो दिख नहीं रहे। शायद से कोई अलग टीम्स है, पता नहीं। बट या apparently it does seem that there are other teams, so there's a different lobby I think compared to the first match. But yeah, anyways, टीम के टैग से ही हमें पता चलेगा कि कौन सी टीम है। मीनवाइल यू हैव टीम ऑल्स ऑलरेडी आए हैं मोंटेनुओ की तरफ एंड जी हाँ, सर्कल क्योंकि ऑलरेडी इस दिशा पे बनी है, दे विल हैव अ गुड amount of time, ample amount of time in fact, to gather all the loot possible and then move on to the next phase of the game. ओके, लास्ट मैच को कंपैरिजन में रखते हुए अभी तक उतने ज्यादा फाइट्स इनिशिएट हुए नहीं इस मैच में। कुछ चंद प्लेयर्स ही एलिमिनेट हुए हैं, उसके अलावा अभी भी सारे टीम्स आर स्टिल इंटैक्ट। इनफैक्ट या ओनली दो ही प्लेयर्स एलिमिनेट हुए हैं अगर आप कुल मिला के देखो तो। H47 के एक प्लेयर, फिर NB के स्क्वाड के एक प्लेयर है सिर्फ जो एलिमिनेट हुए हैं, बाकी सारे प्लेयर्स अभी भी मौजूद। एंड कहीं और तो फाइट ब्रो अप होता हुआ नजर नहीं आ रहा है। तो लेट अस जस्ट मूव ऑन वन बाय वन टू ऑल टुवर्ड्स ऑल द टीम्स। बात करें LG की स्क्वाड, चारों के चारों खिलाड़ी अभी भी शेष इनके प्योर्टो पराइजो की तरफ उतरे थे। यहाँ से बहुत बढ़िया लूट मिली होगी जरूर इनको। काफी ज्यादा बिल्डिंग्स है इस जगह पे, तो they will have absolutely no loss of loot or scarcity of loot in any case. But थोड़ी सी आई थिंक हीलिंग्स की कमी दिख रही है, उसको पूरा करना चाहेंगे. हीलिंग्स एंड थोड़े से थ्रोएबल्स का भी शायद से यहाँ पे तलक रहेगी एलजी के स्क्वाड को. बाकी सारे चीज़ें तो है इनके पास फाइट लेने में. अब सिंस जोन के बाहर है तो थोड़े एक्स्ट्रा हीलिंग्स एंड बूस्टर्स भी शायद से इनको इकट्ठा करनी पड़ेगी. मे बी ऑलरेडी सर्कल के अंदर रहते तो दे वुड हैव मैनेज्ड, बट नाउ सिंस आउटसाइड द सर्कल एंड probably not going to be that easy for them as well, क्योंकि काफ़ी सारे स्क्वाड्स ऑलरेडी वो साउथ ईस्टर्न दिशा के तरफ क्लस्टर होते हुए दिख रहे हैं. मीनवाइल ला कुब्रेरिया की तरफ दो स्क्वाड्स साथ साथ नजर आती हुई. ओह, एला क्लिंग्स क्या नॉक हो सकते हैं. गलती जरूर साबित हुआ है, गाड़ी को उन्होंने ठोक दिया उस पेड़ पे एंड कहीं ना कहीं इसी की वजह से अब दिक्कत पैदा हो सकती थी. पर पीछे से कवर फायर देने के लिए इनके बाकी प्लेयर्स है. 80 डीसी चंदन कुछ ज्यादा ही ओपन एरिया से आगे बढ़ने के प्रयास नॉक किए गए घुटने टेकते हुए. एंड फाइट क्योंकि इनिशिएट हुआ है, अब जरूर उसको अंजाम तक पहुंचाना चाहते होंगे ये लेके प्लेयर्स. देखते हैं क्या वो रिस्क लेंगे एंड रश करेंगे या तो वो यहीं से फॉल बैक करना चाहेंगे. जिस हिसाब से लग रहा है शायद से फॉल बैक ही करने वाले हैं. यस, दे डोंट वांट एनी पीस ऑफ द एक्शन, जोन को प्रायोरिटाइज करना चाहते हैं. एंड अब के चमकीली गाड़ी के साथ, यही शानदार गाड़ी है, इट्स अ पगानी इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग. बढ़िया आवाज भी करती है गाड़ी. एंड yeah, moving towards the north western side, एल पोजो के आसपास से वहाँ पे एक और स्क्वाड भी है. काफ़ी सारे टीम्स के रोटेशन क्लैशेस तो रहेंगे एंड सिंस अभी तक एक भी टीम एलिमिनेट हुई नहीं, so you can expect a lot of rotation clashes in the next few circles. Yeah bro, this is the next group. Okay, okay. Do you mind showing Assam Titans please? Okay, just a moment. फाइट फिलहाल के लिए इनिशिएट होता हुआ टी ओटी के जोनों की. Okay. As of right now, yeah, fights slightly were about to brew up a full-fledged fight, but after the two players got eliminated, interestingly so, Team Red Force, they just moved out of that area, wanting to go to a different location. But there's another player right here. I think maybe following this player, right? Thug Forever being chased right now in a dramatic fight about to be unfolded in a few moments. Thug Forever might want to renew his driving license. Definitely might get eliminated in this match. Yes, that is it for Thug Forever. There was another teammate actually who somehow did not get knocked out. I don't think this team actually knew that there was another player. So maybe they knew it, but they saw the car and it was first instinct to actually chase that particular vehicle. Meanwhile, if we move towards Team SE, Sisyphus Esports, their fight is initiated against TA, Tansa. And in fact, there are only 3 players in this team, so it's a 3v4. But as of right now, the opponents, there's one player that has been knocked out, which will not mean a lot. It's a mid-range fight. Not a lot of value will be obtained out of this fight. Well, there's another team also in the mix. Team Alls, quite close. Tripura All Stars. So they might make a difference in this particular fight. Meanwhile, Team LG, Leba Gang, initiating a fight again. Let's move towards LG, where they have knocked Mecha Scar. Another player getting taken down. Envy Mask also being knocked out, which means Messi is a lone person surviving. And in front is a full squad, but LG Terror probably not the best thing to do in a match. But well, LG Tango, not big of a deal for him, getting the two finishes. Leva Gang. This would have been quite ugly if it was a different scenario, but since everything was under control, they will definitely have a laugh about it, will the players, and probably the IGL have might say a word or two. Not sure if LG Terror is the IGL himself. If that was the case, probably nothing would happen. But if there is someone else who was IGL, probably you would have heard an earful from the IGL. Okay. So all of a sudden we have two teams that have been eliminated from this match. Now let us move on to other teams as well. Sisyphus Esports engaging themselves in a mid-range fight. And yes, you have Tripura All-Stars finally engaging themselves in this fight. It was as if probably they would not engage themselves in a fight, but somehow they've initiated the fight and quite aggressive push, which may not go in their favor. There's one player getting knocked out. Still, there are three more players left. All's Journey also getting knocked out, but Thomas with a brilliant knock and taking down another player. But there are three down of both these teams. Nitric with the 1v1. And okay, there was another player. I thought three players of the other team were also knocked out, but no. Tripura All Stars, the three players were knocked out, but two players still were surviving from Team SE. Sisyphus Esports managing themselves in a heartbreak scenario that would have been quite ugly for them, but somehow they managed this particular scenario and yes, obtaining 4 finishes in the process, a total of 5 in their account as well. But yeah, they have to get into the circle moving towards Chumasera. LG obtaining a southern real estate, closely followed by ELA as well towards the southwestern side of the map. But you have in the mainland of the main compounds of Chumasera, there's one team, that's Team Red Force, that have the main hold in this area. But this particular area might be compromised in case a team actually goes towards the hill and try to fight from that area. Let us see if that actually happens. Yes, you see towards the mini map, there's a team that's coming behind Team Red Force. Piku, Team Piku. Not sure if they actually know there's a team here, but they would definitely want to scout before doing any or performing any actions. And since the vehicle rotations are quite far away, probably Red Force might not have listened to these vehicles unless and until someone spots them, obviously. But yeah, a lot of teams moving towards this area, and especially towards opposite of Chumasera, you can see that there's a close range fight in between Team NS and Tripura All Stars, or no, that's Team Tanza. But another team with a third party, two players getting knocked out back to back. And Jerry, what was that? I had absolutely no clue what was happening. Probably was a panic scenario for that player. And it was a brain freeze moment, I would say. Yeah, getting eliminated, Team NXA. Meanwhile, NXT, Next Gen, might want to push here. But yeah, they can actually do that. Thanza is actually inside the circle, Team Thanza. If If they want a good position inside the circle, they would want to occupy this compound with team next gen. But waiting for a knock probably. In case they attain a knock, they would just rather push directly towards the squad. Meanwhile, you see in the mini-map, there's another team closing in. And I think they have spotted a few players right here of Team NXT and would want to get a knock. Not an ideal scenario right here for Team NXT. In case one of them actually gets knocked, it would be no way backwards, I would say. No trust quite in the open areas, spotting a player. But even before that, no trust, getting knocked out. Yuvraj on stream, quite swiftly knocking that player, getting the finish point as well. But swiftly enough, Team Next Gen, because they also managed to get a trade, but couldn't manage to, you know, save their teammate Zoro. Just wondering what exactly happened. But anyways, Nirvana Jord getting knocked out, and Yuvraj on stream, tumbling upon on this vehicle. It's getting pulled out and pushed away towards the enemies. Team Next Gen want to hold this particular position, but they are defending it with all their might, using nades. TPS also in the hands of Team Next Gen, but some nades might do the damage. But before that, Zoro with that knock, but ATTC Chandan managing to get that particular trade to their favor. But there's still a tough scenario for Team Next Gen. Meanwhile, three players back to back getting knocked out, and then a solo player surviving. And in fact, that's it. Probably thought there was a solo player still surviving outside, but no, that player was already knocked out, and the lone player was surviving, who also got eliminated. And quite a good stronghold by Team Next Gen. Managed to wipe out the entire team of Yuvraj on stream, and now let us see how they move into the circle. Still in the higher ground towards the deep trenches are the Hansa and Team ELA as well. But they have the compound slightly inside the circle. Meanwhile, LG Leba Gang also entering into the proximity, and weren't actually allowed to get into the circle. Denial of the circle by Team Next Gen. Meanwhile, there are two other players from Leba Gang as well. Let us see how they actually get their revenge. They also have to go into the circle. You see, there are only 9 teams as of right now, and the entire circle is actually in the favor of Sisyphus Esports. They have a good position. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Sisyphus Esports, they were inside the circle. Somehow actually trying to... Not sure what they're trying to do. Why they're going outside the circle. They kept a player inside and then probably getting some finish points. How many do they have? They have 5 finish points. So probably wanting to get even more from this particular fight. Let us see, will they manage to get any more? Meanwhile, since the zone has started to cut out, Team Next Gen and also Leba Gang initiating their rotations. And behind, there are 2 teams battling it out against each other. Nirvana Jord, the lone player, surviving. And with some nades, trying to get the finish points to his favor. Red Force, they have a single player knocked out, so it is not that big of a problem for them. Contrasting scenarios compared to Nirvana Jord, where he's the lone player surviving. And I don't think they've yet spotted this player. Meanwhile, there's a close range fight between Team ELA. And yes, Assam T Riku getting eliminated. And next, Zoro with that knock and finish instantly. And higher ground being the factor right here, with which Next Gen are actually riding it. And yeah, yearly Steve getting eliminated. I think they were very close to the vehicle, and the vehicle wasn't yet blasted. And in fact, the damage from the vehicle making sure to get those finish points of Team ELA. Now there are only four teams, and wow, beautiful. Why MPM को दिखाना MPM Excel? Okay, I must say, bro, you seem to be pretty good as a caster. Keep it up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope. Okay, अब top notch. Uh, Kaga Long TV slot 12. Okay. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Hope. Well, I'm still new to English casting. I'm trying my best. I have to work a long way through. Let us see what happens. Not keeping well, though. Okay, we're back. So, as a team that get has been eliminated, I think yes, there was Team Red Force. There's a slight time gap. Actually, this team has been eliminated. Meanwhile, it's a 2v2v2. Three teams surviving. A zone is to the favor of Team Next Gen. And Leba Gang is also slightly inside the circle. Or, okay, they're not inside the circle. They have to go about 10 meters into the circle, but they have quite a lot of cover to get towards their destiny. Let us see if they can actually make a difference. And since none of the teams actually have the man advantage, it is about how they actually show their gun power, how they show their might, how they actually use the tactics and manage to get this chicken dinner. Lava Gang, if they can get to a top area, they might actually dominate this particular fight. But it's all about third parties. You know, Size of a Esports quite passive in their approach, waiting for the circle. But next gen, they are not waiting for the circle. But meanwhile, Beast with the cover fire taking down Dexter might be a make or break scenario for this team. SC Beast pushing in. Leba Gang now it is their turn. They have to get the third parties right. Probably slightly slower than they should have been. But Leba Gang, can they do it? No. Beast with another knock. And that is it. Sisyphus Esports with that brilliant chicken dinner. And it was anyone's game towards the end. In fact, Sisyphus Esports had the least amount of chance to get a chicken dinner because they weren't in the zone. But Beast with a quite brilliant performance, 9 finishes, a solo 9 finish performance, and the team total of 14 finishes, starting the proceedings with a bang. Meanwhile, Lepa Gang towards the second position, they have attained a total of 6 finishes. Next gen, they have 11, 12 finishes. They also played good, but towards the end, slightly maybe caught up with looking at one end and they didn't look at the flanks and didn't have good cover anyway. Towards the fourth rank, you have Team Red Force. They have 8 finishes. Then you have H47 and also H4, or maybe it's WM. Not sure what the name of the squad is, but both of these squads have no finishes. And ELA with 3, TA, Tanza with 3 as well, NPM without any finishes, ATDC with 1, NX with 1 as well, and then Tripura All Stars, NV, and also OTK haven't opened their account. So that is it for the second match. There are 2 more matches, if I'm not wrong, which will start in a while. So we'll be right back, guys. And thank you. Thanks a lot for joining. You're doing well, mate. Keep up the good work and get well soon. Thank you. Thank you, bro. Okay, welcome back, guys. Hopefully, all the audio is rightly audible. Yeah, डेस्कटॉप ऑडियो थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा करते हैं। हाँ, सही है शायद अब। ओके okay, so we are moving on to the third match of Northeast Pro Series wildcard round, where which is held, yeah, to which is held on the map of Sandhog. Flight path being formed from Camp Bravo towards Tambang. Quite a neutral flight path. Not going to be any difficulties for teams to actually go towards the drop locations, but you can see a lot of early fights. Definitely can expect some towards ruins. There were two teams actually aiming this location, but the second of the team, Red Force, actually moving away from ruins, getting slightly split away. Probably they spotted these players, and that's why they didn't want to get to this particular location. But H47, the Bahi getting knocked out. It's team H47. It's not going to be that difficult for them because they have the cover, but a lot of angles being created against them from Team Red Force. Now, this will either go in the way of Team Red Force or it might actually be a disadvantage for them because when they actually push in towards Team H47, they might not have the trading abilities when you have the entire squad in the close range. So they'll not have the force. So we have to wait and watch how this particular fight treads on. Meanwhile, towards Harton, there are four teams that have landed right here. And Team ATTC, SE, Sisyphus Esports, Team NX, and then also Team WM or Team Biku. So there are four teams. And so right now, Team ATTC slightly going head to head against Team Biku, where Nirvana Jord has been fired upon, quite low on HP. Meanwhile, towards Ruins, the first blow has been dealt. X47 getting knocked out. But RF Maddow quite openly moving in, closing in towards H47. And definitely the nades will be out. And this might be a knock from Team H47. Definitely is, but a close range fight as well. RF Chinu with that knock, but getting knocked out as well as the Wizard came to help, but didn't do much of the help. Now they have been reduced down to a single player, have Team RF. Red Fire, the Bahi getting spotted out as well. Sea God with a nice knock using the iron sight of M4. It's always a pleasure to actually use this gun with iron sight. Not the easiest to control in long range, but it's quite satisfying, I would say. But you see, this is not the start that Team Red Force would have wanted. Three players getting taken down, and none of their opponents have been eliminated. So they don't have any finish points as of right now. And a solo player surviving has to actually fall back, and then probably the plan B has to be executed. That is to get as many first aid kits as possible, stay outside the circle, and then initiate a heal battle when you have the time. Might just actually go for that route. And teams always have a last resort in the map of Sandhawk. And it's quite easy actually if you do it rightly. You definitely can aim a top 5 finish if you have a lot of first aid kits, and since these are advanced room cards, they definitely have a lot of loot compared to the normal Sanhok map matches that you actually play in classic matches where you don't get as much loot as you get in these rooms. So definitely can it be a strategy moving forward to this team. Let us see if some other teams also move on to this phase where they have to actually survive till the end and probably not fight as much. Meanwhile, WM, Team Biko pushing against next gen, taking down Wanshu. Dexter is also low on HP, but Snoopy Dog with a knock. Nirvana getting taken down, but Snoopy also getting knocked out. Dexter getting picked off as well. And now we have a single player from next gen surviving. That is No Trust. Slightly caught up and trying to revive his teammate. It's a 1v3 Biko. This nade might just connect. Meanwhile, in the background, also some fights being taken. And ATDC, they want to third party this area, but No Trust has absolutely no chance. Getting eliminated. And then another team also, Team NS, also bites the dust. So in the midst or in a span of short time, you have seen two teams getting eliminated from this match. Sisyphus Esports, they have also eliminated NS. But ATDC Chandan with a knock. You see Team ATDC, they have a split of 3-1. Might be a difficult scenario for them. Solo player Chandan actually taking on Sisyphus Esports, and the other three players are quite far away. Close range might just mean the downfall of this team as well. But let us see. I mean, they are closing in our team ATDC. There was another team, I think. Okay, no. So there are only three teams now. There were five. And now after the exit of the other two teams, there are only three teams right here in this area. Meanwhile, Lepa Gang also initiating their fight, and they have finished it as well with 4 finishes. Eliminating Team Panza. Hexa with 2 finish points. And the rest of the 2 finish points getting distributed between Tufan and Tango. Meanwhile, the fight quite slow, but it's not stagnant. Quite continuous. The fights being taken, but Bikudor with the knock, and right after that, Yuvraj on stream with the cover fire. But ATDC, they are in grave danger. Quite close to getting eliminated, I would say. The only thing that is actually stopping them from getting eliminated is the brilliant cover that they actually have, the other two players. You say Legacy actually has a flank angle, hasn't yet spotted MRX, but MRX is actually front of him, quite far away in fact. And yes, finally spotting out MRX with that knock, but probably forgot that there was another team right here. But Ninja Jord aggressing Team SE, Sisyphus Esports, now taking a close range fight against Team Biku. Bikudor hasn't been knocked yet, but you see another team as well, Bikudor. Oh, Team Biku. It's game time for them. Meanwhile, Ninja with that knock, but behind are other players as well. They get that pick off of the other teammate, and somehow, amongst all the chaos, Nirvana Jod is the lone player surviving. And Sisyphus, they would definitely want to push against this team or this player and make sure to get the squad wipe to their name. The third party is actually making things difficult for both these teams. Sam T, they've also eliminated a team, H47, being the prey of team Assam T. Yeah, meanwhile, closing in. Can he get one knock? No. Crosshair going nowhere. Did get a lot of damage against the opponents, but couldn't knock even a single player. Could Nirvana Jod. And that is it for Team Biku. Meanwhile, ATTC closing in on Team Sisyphus Esports. This is a big chain of third parties in this particular area. Just a moment. Okay. And quite early in this match, we have only 9 teams surviving. There weren't actually initially a lot of teams in this match. And the map of Sandhawk, usually you expect a lot of early fights to get engaged. And as a result of that, you see that quite a lot of teams have been eliminated. 5 to be precise. But yeah, meanwhile, some other teams engaging themselves in a fight. NV battling it out against Team OTK. Zoro with that nade getting the retaliation. Mecha Scar gets taken down. Team NV. The rest of the team is somewhere else. They have a vehicle though, closing in on Team OTK. The rest of the players. But Mecha Star couldn't be survived, couldn't be saved. Thug Forever also getting knocked out. But yeah, NV Agya trying to get a nade right, but in the process exposing himself a lot. But Assam T with the third party, and that is it for Team OTK, getting eliminated from this match. But yeah, this fight hasn't ended yet. Still are 2 teams right here of Team NV and Team ELA. The lone player from Team NV, that is Musk, surviving, has revived the player, but the process of reviving Takia Genji might get knocked out as well. But since they have enough covers, probably still surviving our Team NV. But you see quite a lot of teams still outside the circle. They have to get inside. NPM's player also getting knocked out. Maybe it's a mid-range fight, I think. Yeah, mid-range fight between LG and NPM. Trying to deny the recall. But bros waited for the opponent to actually reload their gun, and right after that came outside to give the revival. Meanwhile, Sisyphus Esports, their fight has initiated the close range battle against Team Sisyphus Esports and ATDC. Oh, Nitri getting knocked out, but Knock Me with brilliant knock. 1v2 still on hands, going against 2 DPSs. That's definitely not an ideal scenario. It might have been nerfed, but it's still a gun to reckon with as DPS. Nokmi has Vector, which is also one of the most underrated guns you can say, but against 2 players that potentially might, you know, aggress on you together, make that 3 now. Another player has been revived, MRX, so that potentially increase the difficulty of this particular 1v3. And probably will get eliminated right here, getting one knock. ATDC boss getting knocked out. Knock Me. Oh, that was a nice knock, taking down another player. Will this be a 1v3? Knock Me. How the tides have changed. Team ATDC, even though having the upper hand, they have been eliminated from this match. Knock Me with a brilliant clutch. And when it mattered the most, getting his team out of trouble, adding on to the 3 finish points to a tally of a total of 12 finish points. Oh, they were on a roll as Team Sisyphus. In case if all of their players were still surviving, they could definitely get a chicken dinner. There are still quite a lot of chances for this solo player to get a chicken dinner, but I think most probably he'll be satisfied getting these many finishes. Might even go for a heel battle. You've done all your hard work. Top seven. I mean, if this player can survive for still quite a while, might even go towards top three or top four. It will not be a big challenge actually. But you know what? I have a feeling that Knock Me will just go ahead and take fights because when you have a 1v3 of this sort, you're definitely quite high on confidence and you want to get more as many finishes as possible and definitely not want to hold back whatsoever. While zone, it has been formed on Team Leba Gang and also having a mid-range fight against Team All Stars, Tripura All Stars, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, quite a tricky scenario for Team Tripura All Stars because they don't have the higher ground advantage. But Team Leba Gang, they have the higher ground advantage and they can definitely spot their opponents and get a few knocks, putting pressure on Team Tripura All Stars. But I don't think Leba Gang knows the exact position of all the players in front of them. So that might be a tricky scenario for them as well. Meanwhile, Circle moving towards the northeastern side where there's only a single player of Team Tripura All Stars. Leba Gang closely entering into the circle. You see Hexa actually entering in the circle, but rest of the players are quite far away. Meanwhile, LG Terror, I think, has spotted a player right here. Yes, trying to take down Genji. Quite split out. And I think Sisyphus, okay, they have anyway only single player. Takia Genji is of Team Envy. Have to get into the circle. Probably not a great idea to use the vehicle as to knock this player in front of him. Only then will he get a good chance to go into the circle. But that nade might do some damage, but no, has no first aid kits. So yeah, will get eliminated outside the circle will Takia Genji. Meanwhile, Nokmi has entered to the top 5. NPM also getting eliminated by LG Tufan. But Team Leba Gang, they have a player that has been knocked out and they still have to get all of the players into the circle. This might be a small challenge for them. You see, in the process of getting more finishes, they, they put themselves into a very risky scenario to Team Leba Gang. That is the biggest question. And in the process, Team Triple All Stars, they have closed in, but All's Water Law has been knocked out. A quite accurate nade, making sure to get that knock. There are only 4 teams left actually in this particular match. You have Assam Titans, Tripura All Stars, and the solo player of. Wait. Oh, I thought actually. I thought Sisyphus Esports was still there, but no. Sisyphus Esports has been eliminated. I think top 5 finish, if I'm not wrong. Still would fancy the top 5 finish. But Sisyphus Esports with so many finishes that they have in their bag. But Laba Gang, they have 2 teams in front of them. Have spotted Assam Titans. A better spray would have actually helped them. But now they have to get into the circle. They have quite less time actually in their hands at their disposal and don't have enough covers to actually do these sort of things. And well, Hexa, the lone player surviving. Uh, no, not the best of scenarios for Team Leba Gang. I mean, I was wondering, they were actually going outside the circle in order to get those finish points. I have to wait and see how many finishes do they actually have. And was it actually worth it to go outside and risk getting this chicken dinner? Now it's quite an easy chicken dinner for Team Tripura All Stars, I would say. ELA Steve is actually having a heel battle, and yes, the two players that actually came into the circle to fight, with them being taken down, uh, it's definitely an easy chicken dinner. Oh, there's another player here. Hello. Where did you come from? Team Red Force still in the action, but not sure if Zegord is in any position to take a fight. Is in the circle though. Sexy Thomas in front of him would want to get this knock, at least a finish point right here. They don't have even a single finish point. And yeah, that is it for ELA. Steve has been eliminated from this match. So now it's a 1v4 scenario. Zegod probably waiting to raise his health as much as possible. Has no boosters or no first aid kits. Probably even has no bandages as well. Health is slightly boosted about 25%. So might want to wait to at least make that reach to up to 50% maybe. And then maybe take a fight. Would definitely give this player quite a lot of chances, but I mean, you cannot deny the inevitable. He just cannot do it. There are four players that have full HP. It's a quite difficult task. Knocking down a player though. Oh, also Federal also quite low on HP. Can use bit of the nades here. Should have probably used a bit of the nades. Maybe get close and then get one or two knocks with that nade. Could have made things more simpler. But yeah, that is it for Team Red Force. A nice try, but towards the end, Tripura All Stars getting that chicken dinner. A total of 6 finishes. Then you have Red Force. They haven't opened the account, but they have the position points that matter the most. Meanwhile, Assam Titans with 8 finishes. Leba Gang with 8 as well. Science of Esports the most, and in fact the best of the lot. Total of 12 finishes. Then you have NPM with a single finish, Team NV with 2, ATDC with 2 as well, OTK with 1 finish, WM with 5, H47 with 3, TA without any finishes, NS and also NXT, they also didn't manage to get any finishes. So that was it for the third match. We'll be right back in a while. Thank you. Thanks a lot for joining. Chalo. Please like the stream, guys, if you haven't already. And make sure to subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. So let us be back in a while for the next match. I think there are two more matches if I'm not wrong. So yeah, thank you. Stay tuned, guys. Hello, hello, welcome back, guys. We are back with the fourth match of Northeast Pro Series wildcard round. And yeah, it is going to be the map of Sandhawk again. Flight path forming from Docks towards Harton. Quite a neutral flight path, if you say so, slightly towards the southwestern side. But yeah, again, Sandhawk is not a big map, so teams have absolutely no problem whatsoever going towards the drop locations. Last time, though, towards boot camp, we didn't see any teams moving. And even in this match as well, I think there's only one team moving towards boot camp. That is W Blinders. Apart from these teams, apart from this team, there are no other teams. But towards Painan, you have multiple teams. And in fact, the fight has initiated as well. KG battling it out against Vane Esports. UPAOG has been knocked out and straight away have been put towards the back foot. Have Team Vane Esports. Let's see how they show the retaliation, how they actually get some trades to their favor. But there are four teams right here in Painan. KG Trigun almost getting knocked out. Vane CJ with nice connections. Apart from KG and Vane, we also have CT Elites, and then also the fourth team being LDV. So these are the four teams towards Painan. Moving out to other areas, I don't think there are any other drop clashes apart from the drop clash in this area. Okay, towards Harton as well, you have MCE and Team SLR, I think, Slayer, but they're quite far away, so probably not the fight being initiated so early over there compared to this particular area where there are four teams and the heat is actually brewing up. Well, in the first match of this group, Koyom Esports were the one to get the chicken dinner. And as of right now, if you see Koyom Esports, they have landed towards Khao, which is outside the circle, but they'll get enough loot right here. And will have to enter into the circle from the area of Paradise Resort, where they might have a blast with CTK or might even cross their path with TEC as well. So we have to wait and watch how it actually goes for Team Koem Esports. And the biggest question always that stands, will that team get a back-to-back? But meanwhile, two players getting knocked out of Team LTV, another player getting knocked out, and things are not looking nice for Team LTV right here. CT Elites initiating that fight, and with that, Cyber. That's what pressure does to you. Probably forgot that there wasn't there were two more teams behind the area, and when you are actually focusing on only one single area, that those sort of mistakes are bound to happen. Wayne getting a very easy finish point to their ranks. Wayne K making sure to get that finish point. KG Kaloti Gladiator might just close in right here. But that nade was a nade or was a molly, I think. Won't do much damage anyway. Oh, but if not the nade, the gun definitely did quite a lot of damage. Vayne CJ with a nice spray. Probably would have knocked that player in case the molly would have done damage. But since the molly was quite far away from the player, that uh, gun fire didn't do much anyway. Meanwhile, Team Exist, they have a fight against K7 officials Halva Zeus. There's a lone player right here, but is actually taking a fight against the entire team of Exist. And as you can see, Exist, they have a player knocked out, and this player is quite in a tough spot. Exist Sahid getting to revive the teammate, but you see, in the process, other players of KS7 are also closing in towards his team, and this might just make things even difficult for Team KS7 or Team Exist. Let us see how it goes for them. But you see, Saitama has already closed in, but there's another team in the mix as well. MCE. Marco's Esports also right here, and finally Baby Carl with the knock and with the finish point. The thirst as well. Team Exist, not the best place to actually take a fight. The hill is so that you cannot actually have enough covers to fight here. Even if you're in the higher ground, that doesn't always mean that you will have a good position, because the higher ground is quite awkward. I would say the angle towards of the high ground, and players at the bottom can easily actually spot the players on top. Meanwhile, KS7 players closing in on Team Exist, but they have a big scenario to deal with. Halwa Zeus taking down another player, and Exist Sahed. No, that was a mistake. And reducing down Team Exist to a single player. KS7, they have managed to do so. BH Mario, the lone player surviving. Big challenge right here. Not sure if KS7 knows where the last player is. Probably has no clue. And I mean, the grass in Sanhok won't help as well. Quite thick grass of Sanhok, where the player is actually prone. You cannot have any vision on them unless you have quite a high ground. Oh, but BH Mario finally exposing, breaking the trigger discipline, getting that knock won't actually help much, I would say. Halva Zeus has also closed in and can spot the player from here. I think if he sees right, can see the helmet from here for sure. Oh, and the entry of Team MCE, Marco's Esports. This might just mark the exit of Team KS7. Let us see how they do it, baby Carl. It's quite a scenario in front. Not the most ideal situation, definitely. But Halwa Zeus has not yet spotted BH Mario, but that nail definitely doing a lot of damage. But T Marcos, I think they want to fall back, not wanting to take a fight. Most probably will close in and get into the circle first, and then would want to take a fight and later after that. But Alva Zeus has a good chance to get that knock or get that finish point, but is still quite hesitant. Hasn't yet spotted that player. Meanwhile, towards Painan, you have the other teams fighting it out. Team Vayne going head to head against CT Elites, and Gaga has already been eliminated. Nick is being knocked out. So we have 2 versus 4 right here. CT Elites and KG might just fancy their chances for a third party right here. So let us see how they do it. Might have to close in this scenario. Maybe if one player gets knocked out, they might just start closing in on this particular area. But yeah, Vayne, UPAOG getting knocked out. And CT Elites, Dream Noob getting knocked out as well. Vigilant also getting taken down. And that is it for Team CT Elites, getting eliminated by Vayne Esports. And I think KG has also started to close in. Yes, from quite far away, but no, they're moving away from this area, probably wanting to go into the mid area of the circle. I mean, they had a chance, or maybe since none of the players from Team Vayne got knocked out, probably they thought, let us not go for a third party. But there's a team ahead of them, in fact, Team CWG, and it's a full team. And KG, in order to get into the circle, they might have to cross paths with Team CWG, which would mean a 3v4 scenario, 3v4 fight. Oh, shit. The running nose. Just a moment, guys. Oh, I think I muted the wrong audio. Sorry for that. You might have listened to my sore nose. Okay. Uh, okay, Team SLR. They had one of the players getting knocked out by Koyam, and right after that, the entire squad getting eliminated in a blitz. Meanwhile, KG also eliminating Vayne. Vayne had four players, but now I think they have none. Right, Team Vayne also have been finished off from this match. Koyam Esports getting knocks as well. 6v getting thirsted in the process. So quite a lot of teams crossing paths towards the mid areas of the circle. KOF also have entered the proximity. In fact, I think the finish point was secured by KOF Sakar, right? God. Okay, outside the circle, some other teams fighting as well. MCE back to back, three of the players have been knocked out. Part par, a lone player surviving. And yeah, that is it for them as well. I think Roton had a 1v4 right here. Yes, having four finishes. Roton definitely has a 1v4. Unfortunately, I cannot show much excitement because my voice is not right. Sorry for that. Okay, total of 9 teams. 9 teams left. Circle still favoring Koim Esports. They might just get another chicken dinner right here. Can Koim Esports? What do you think, guys? Can they do it back to back? Tomato Place does think so. At Koim Esports can get one more chicken dinner. Meanwhile, CWG also engaging themselves in a fight. W Blinders with a mid-range fight. Nexus Esports also engaging themselves in a fight. So a lot of teams, while closing in, are trying to get as many finish points as possible. TEC reduced down to 2 players. Nexus Esports, they are scanning the area for any intruders. And the close range are no players, but towards the long range or long mid range, quite a lot of players. And in fact, two players from TEC that are trying to get the knocks of Team Nexus. Let us see how Team Nexus actually deals with them. Oh, sheesh. Just put me out of the match. In fact, out of the login session. The hell, dude? Okay. Alva Zeus has to be eliminated. Meanwhile, Nexus engaging themselves in a fight. I think this is Team CWG, if I'm not wrong. I think they eliminated the squad right after that, CWG with a third party. But Seed Fox, quite low on HP. Koem Esports also have lost two of their players, which is quite unlike them actually, and have to get into the circle as well, posing major threats. In fact, one of the players is offline. Finally has come back online, but as soon as Kurama came online, was greeted with a barrage of bullets. And now a lone player for Team Koem Esports, making it things even quite so difficult. But has entered the circle. Has a top four still, the top four position. So might probably move until top three or top two is also possible. CTK, in fact, closing in outside from outside the circle. One of the players has already been eliminated. Make that two. Melo also getting out, finished outside the circle. So three of the teams are on one side, and on the other side you have Koem Esports last player. That's Malcolm Seal Fox getting knocked out. In fact, two players with a single nade. CWG guys would have definitely lit up with that nade. And fancy the chances to get a chicken dinner. Nexus, no breathing space whatsoever, have been pinned down to a particular location. Have to do something different from here to get at least a knock, get an entry point so that they can crush their opponent, the likes of CWG. But now they have, it's a make or break scenario. Have to rely on the reflexes. It's a 1v1 in front of Team Nexus Roton. Jump up Madara, quite late to react to that scenario. And Koya Malcolm also entering into the fight, getting a knock, getting a finish point. Naruto also getting spotted out. Another player bites the dust. Leo somehow gets a knock but has been eliminated as well. And in the midst of all the chaos, Koya Malcolm, can he do it? This is quite dramatic at the end. It's a 1v1, and Koem Esports, they still have a chance. And this nade might just mark the victory of Team Koem Esports. Quite low on HPs now with him. It's UMP versus TPS. Has to connect a single shot, but now him The twist of events. And Team CTK with our brilliant chicken dinner with a total of 5 finishes. Koem Esports, they could have got a chicken dinner, but somehow probably got too excited at the end since it was a 1v1. And once you miss one of your TPS shots, then it's quite difficult to cover up. And yeah, Koem Esports played well with 6 finishes, but had to settle at number 2. Meanwhile, Team Nexus with so many finishes, 16 finishes with Team Nexus. And then CWG with a total of 3 finishes. W Blinders, they have 4. TEC without any finishes. KS7 with 8. KG with 4. KOF with a single finish. MCE or Marcos Esports with 2. Vayne Esports with 3. SLR without any finishes. CT Elites with 3. Team Exist with Team Exist, Team MGL, and also Team SY. Uh, all the 3 of them have no finishes. So that was it for the 4th match. Not sure if there is a 5th. Probably there might be one more. If there is one more, we'll be right back, guys. Okay, yeah, stay tuned. We'll let you know if there's another match. Now, why am I closing it here? I have the controls on the laptop, but I'm closing it on the iPad. So used to this. Okay, so welcome back, guys. Welcome back, Swagat hai वापस. Yeah, we're back with the last match of today, Northeast Pro Series Wildcard Series, the wildcard round, in fact. And the last match going to be back in the map of Virangal. Yeah, we are back to the map of Virangal where I think this is Group 2, flight path forming from Yasnaya towards Primorsk, and probably can't get more neutral than this, almost covering or almost cutting the map into two equal halves. Obviously, the northern side has more real estate, but geometrically, definitely bisecting the map, I would say. But yeah, can expect quite a lot of early fights because of the distance of the major drop locations from the flight path, especially Georgiopol military base, quite far away. Yasnaya, interesting, no one has landed towards Yasnaya. Probably a reverse psychology where many of the teams probably would have thought that the usual suspects would land at Yasnaya and hence they didn't go towards Yasnaya, but all the teams thinking the same way and no one in fact has landed towards Yasnaya. But Leba Gang initiating their fights as soon as they got down. In fact, towards the receiving end of a fight, are Leba Gang, first player to be eliminated. LG Tufan from this match. Assam T also engaging themselves in a fight with NPM. In fact, this team Next Gen that is engaging themselves in a fight. As you Terror with a knock. Tripura All Stars have also engaged themselves in a fight, but there's a 1v1 Cyreb against, yeah, Next Gen Zoro. Not sure what he was doing right there, trying to get a knock with the nade, but had already pulled the pin of the nade. That means now there are only two players surviving for Team Next Gen, and it's a 2v3 for them. Zoro has knocked, probably will try to initiate the revival, but Wanshu, not going to be easy for this player because Syrab is waiting, and the other two players are also closing in to get the cover fire. Let's move back to LG Lepa Gang, where two of the players from Sisyphus Esports have been knocked out. And Lepa Gang, quite a good retaliation right here. And PM knocking down two of the players of NXT Next Gen, and I think over there as the lone player surviving, Anuj 2 OP getting the finish point, but Snoopy Dog in fact was knocked out, and Laba Kang, initially their player had been knocked out, but right after that, where the brilliant retaliation eliminating Sisyphus Esports, who had a chicken dinner in the first match. After that, it's quite a downfall for them. Couldn't get many of the finish points or many of the total points for them. Meanwhile, Assam T also had initiated a fight where one of the players were eliminated, and I think they also got a finish point. No, they didn't get a finish point. It was their opponents, Red Force, who managed to bag a finish point from Team Assam Titans. But yeah, right after that, trying to get more loot. One of the coldest matches, I would say, where the fights are not as much as we have seen throughout the day. And in fact, the teams that are joining are also reducing in every match. But let us go towards Tripura All Stars, where I think this is the area where the fight is initiated. But All Stars, Thomas, knocked out because of a fall, probably was in a vehicle, caught down from a vehicle quite quickly, maybe. But yeah, Lia Ang and the teammate aggressing towards the players of H47. Another player bites the dust, and now there are only two players surviving from Team H47, where X47 is using the TPP to the favor, but not sure against whom. The opponents are quite inside the cover and probably cannot do anything. So 2v4 scenario, and through two players of H47 quite split right here. Uh, it's not going to be easy for them. Ria oh, will get knocked out, probably will get finished as well, but yeah, definitely will. Oh, interestingly, didn't get finished yet. And the rest of the teammates are here as well to give the cover fire, to provide the cover fire, to initiate the revival. And Waterlaw trying to knock the player. The Escarel didn't go to their favor. Another player not getting knocked out, but gets the knock against H47, and Tabahi, the lone player, getting eliminated as well. And Team Tripura All Stars with a nice squad vibe initiated in this match, starting the match with a bang. Let us see how they maintain the momentum in this match, or momentum throughout the match. Well, the circle is quite a huge one. Not a lot of teams left anyway. So the teams quite easily will be able to maintain a position inside the circle. But Team NS, their fight has been initiated, and NX69 getting knocked out. The rest of the teammates were quite far away. I think 69 would have shouted that an enemy is closing upon me. Please provide some backup. Please provide some cover. But it was too late. But anyways, better late than never. Definitely can get the revivals. Can 69, but WM Stark with the nade might think made things difficult for Team NS. Oh, WM Ninja is also knocked out. Oh, not an ideal scenario right here for Team Biku. Ninja is knocked out and quite in an open area. And Jerry is right there to deny the opponents from a revival. Just a moment. Ah, shit. Nice use of the car 98K. And with that knock, another player bites the dust. But Legacy with the Padilla cover fire. And 69 getting knocked out. Players are coming one by one, making things quite easy for Team Biku. But Legacy was initiating you know, increase of health using the first aid kit. But so the first aid kit could have been applied. What was that beast? Did hear the footsteps, but that was not an ideal scenario to be in. It jumped up and straight away landing on the crosshair of Nirvana Jod, and somehow Team Biko are still surviving. And it's going to be a 1v2 for them because rest of all the players of Team NS have been eliminated. Meanwhile, let us go back to Assam Titans, where it's a close range fight. Khandu is the lone player surviving for Team Assam Titans. And in the opponents, it's Yuvraj on stream from Team ATDC. And it's definitely a 1v1. Uzi versus M4, and this time it's M4. that has shown its might. And yeah, Samti eliminating ITDC. Now 1v4 for Khandu. One for the highlights, for sure. Can upload it on Instagram or probably even on YouTube. Get some views and likes. Let's move back to Pochinki where you have Leba Gang. And I think this time they might have to deal with another team right here. I see there's a team towards the church side, NPM. They have suffered a casualty, have NPM, but still wanting to take a fight against Leba Gang. Might have heard some uh, gunshots from here, so ideally would have wanted a third party, but the fight has already been completed, so they have to initiate a knock. Only then can they get the finish points or can rush towards this area. I think has spotted. Anas has been spotted, I think. Yes, has been spotted by LG Terror, but quite a pixelish spotting. Couldn't get the exact connections that were needed, but Terror has probably no idea that a person has closed in from Team NPM. Bros SW. This might be of a big problem for Team LG in case Terror gets knocked out. And Bros has a nade, can cook that and throw it towards the window to get a knock. Still quite tentative, but I think they have an idea. Probably LG Terror definitely is looking towards this area, has an idea of that player. Not sure how, but yeah, they do have an idea. Uh, it's not a trapezoid. Certainly not a trapezoid. What is it? If you know what I'm talking about, this is, well, it's a four-sided polygon. That's what I would call it. It looks like a kite, though. What do you think? Yeah, it does look like a kite with quite a long tail. Well, there's another team that's closing in. If you see in the background, Team Khanza, they are actually pushing in this Team MP and NPM towards the church. Could have gotten a knock if NPM Sireb had tried, but I didn't want to take any risks. Got down and, well, two of the players already went back, but Riggs stayed there just to make sure in case one of them comes to the open areas, he can knock the player. But that tactic didn't work. Closing it on the warehouse because the circle is formed slightly towards the southwestern side. And towards Katka, you have Team OTK not being contested by anyone, but heavy. Oh, I foolishly plugged out my. Just a moment, guys. I'll be back. I'll have to restart the stream. Cause some energy or what? Buddy, look at my other matches. I've been shouting the whole 4 matches. My voice is not well. If you were in my situation, you wouldn't even cast. That's how it is. I have a running nose and a sore throat. My throat is itching so much. And you're asking me to shout? Well, look at the other matches. I shouted like hell, dude. I don't know why people come and they don't look at other matches. They look at one match and then they and judge too quickly. But you look at the other matches, rewind, you'll get to know. Don't worry, it's not like I'm not interested. It's just that I'm not capable to do it now. If I try to shout, then I will not be able to cast the next day. That's why I'm trying to suppress it a bit. I hope you can understand. If you don't, I don't really care anyway. Well, towards Pochinki, quite a lot of teams clustering around. Other teams might just be bored. Teams towards Karka and the team towards Georgiopol. Uh, Why am I even explaining it to a person who doesn't know the spelling of caster? Oh, seriously, dude. Anyway, there are 26 players with 9 teams, and the next circle is about to be formed. Let's see how it actually goes. Uh, Initially had hinted that it would be a southwestern circle, but now moving towards the mid areas. And yeah, quite a good positioning from Team OTK. They still have all the 4 players intact and are gearing up for a good finish towards the end of this match. Since they are towards the mid circle and the areas around them are quite open, they have quite a good vision of the players in case they actually try to push against them. Well, there is Team Biku trying to push. And Nirvana Jord doesn't know there's a player right here. I think finally got to know about this, but Nirvana Jord getting knocked out by OTK Zoro. It was nice cover fire from the backs, and that's quite a big blow. Nirvana Jord was playing well, and now Stark, the lone player surviving, has to take care of this 1v1 scenario. Not going to be easy, but this nade might just do some damage. Okay, yes, Axtro getting taken down. A nice nade by Stark. But the rest of the team will definitely push in. We need another nade that way. Oh, if that would have been a knock, would make things difficult. Well, when you have an S12, you can certainly knock another player. So Stark s- showing all the might of the gameplay that he has. Not taking too many risks in the process. No, 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 this is probably too risky. Going out. Oh, yeah. Did all the hard work, but at the end, exposing himself too much, I would say. It's quite understandable. I mean, once you get the 2 knocks and then you make your opponent quite low, you would want to actually push towards an opponent. And most of the time, when you do that with a shotgun, might not be able to connect it properly. Bro, when is the last match of the semis waiting for the ITP? This is not the semis, this is the qualifiers. I don't know whether is semis going on? I'm not sure about it. This is still the qualifiers, no? Oh, wait, my order has arrived. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, yeah, I'm back, guys. Last match wildcard. This is the last match of the wildcard. I think you have missed it, probably. Tongbram Paikhomba. Oh, Red Force aggressing against Team NPM. And that Nate making sure that Bros is down on his knees. And now the rush making sure to get the finish point as well. And NPM, they have been reduced down to only two players right now. Sairabe. And in fact, they have another team that they are handling. Leba Gang. Oh, no, no. Oops. Quite a big mistake, I would say. But yeah, I mean, their opponents is not in a quite good scenario, but so they can afford that mistake. Can Leba Gang at 10 p.m. Anas is a lone person surviving and has to initiate the revival. Quite an open area. They have been compromised. Teams from all over the place are, firing shots at them, making things very difficult for Team NPM. But meanwhile, Leper Gang trying to get some knocks against Team Tripper All Stars. LG Terror spotted Thomas. Anas getting knocked out. And now you have Side Up, the lone person surviving in a 1v3. Not sure what Anas was doing right there inside. But yeah, Side Up also has been spotted. That is it. And Dread Force getting the finish point somehow. It's quite a interesting circle because it's towards the open side. And the only compound inside the circle is not occupied. That's not quite ideal. And quite interestingly, all the teams are looking to fight rather than, hold. And you also have now Triple All Stars trying to push against Team LG or Team Leba Gang. It's a 3v4 scenario for them. And there's Red Force as well towards Pochinki, covering the backs. They have slight zone advantage, and that's why they're not moving an inch. Meanwhile, Thomas getting knocked out by Leba Gang, Tango, and an equalizer. There were four players, and Tripura All Stars was a useless rush for them. In fact, did more wrong to them than right. lost a player, but meanwhile, spotting team OTK in the open areas. Astro getting knocked out by Federal. Now, a lone player from team OTK has to face all of the pressure right here. It's going to be a tough task at hand at their disposal of team OTK. They have to face another team as well. Certainly not the ideal scenario they want to be in, team OTK. They would be hoping, crossing the fingers, please not, don't knock me, but this is just putting a feast of yourself in front of your opponents. Uh, they had more smokes. They could have made a smoke path even better than this, maybe. But yeah, quite an open area. It's just a matter of fact now until Zoro gets eliminated as well. Meanwhile, Rick's knocking down a player behind them as a team. Takia Genji, somehow from Team Envy, is a lone player surviving right now. And in front of him is a 1v2 scenario, but would want to uh, initiate the revival for Mecha Scar first and then take a fight. But Riggs closing in from outside the circle. 6 teams, out of which there's a circle favoring Tripura All Stars. LG Tango getting knocked out, and Team Bleba Gang, they are in grave danger. That is it for LG Tango in this match. But Team Red Fire, or Red Force in fact, closing in against Team LG. They're inside the sniper tower, hence all the nades are not reaching this place. But would they want to push on these players? Probably not. Red Force would. Okay, yes, they are pushing on these players. I thought initially maybe they would want to get into the zone, but no. They're taking the fight, knocking down a player, tech shot, the lone player surviving. And well, that is it for tech shot. It was RF Shuro with the finish point. But Mad Dog getting eliminated because he was knocked out because of the molly. They did get two finishes, did Team RF, but lost a player in the process. And Tripura All Stars now will not allow Team RF to get into the circle. It's going to be an uphill task for them from here. And the team at the back as well, Takia Genji, has provided the revival to Mecha Scar. And now they will also close in towards Team Tripura All Star. But OTK 0 with the rush, a solo player. I mean, what would players do with so much confidence? If only some other players had this much confidence as much as a solo player had, things would have been quite different right here. Where yeah, Mecha Scar, as soon as he got knocked out, Team RF pushing against this side, and now Red Force. They're amongst the only 4 teams surviving in this contest, and Zoro being the lone player, Takia Genji is also the lone player, and rest of the other teams with 3 players. Okay, Zoro with that knock, the solo player making a difference. Takia Genji finally getting eliminated. What a law. Wanted to get a knock against Team RF, but Zoro, things might get difficult for this player because both of the other 2 teams might just rush on this player using his 12k to defend himself. But it's a sandwich scenario if you see. It's 1 versus 6 right here. And maybe this nade will do some damage. Not backing off as Zoro has no first aid kit, so there's no chance of heal battles. Has to, it's a make or break scenario. Has to either rush or allow to get rust. Okay, Waterloo aggressing, getting one knock, but the second player, RF Zord, with the retaliation, and Waterloo, probably a mistake of any sort. I mean, it was a mistake because Chido OG anyway will get the revival, and also now RF will have three players compared to the two players of Team Tripura All Stars. Zoro still the lone player surviving, now has to get into the circle, which is not going to be easy. Probably the wrong timing to get down. Maybe should have waited a bit more, I guess. But RF Zord getting Z-God getting knocked out. Watch your backs because there's another player at the back. Wizard getting the finish point of OTK Zoro, but that was a nice play right there. This is just making things easier for team Tripura All Stars though. But they have to get into the circle, which is not going to be easy anyway. But yeah, Shino. Maybe just yeah, easier for Triple All Stars. And that knock, that finish point from OTK Zoro definitely being the factor that led to the chicken dinner of Triple All Stars with a total of seven finishes. And then you have Team Red Force with 9 plus 3, 12 finishes. OTK with 6. Team NV with a total of 2 finishes. And you have LG Leba Gang. They have 6 finishes. NPM with 4. Assam Titans with 6. Team WM with 4. And you also have Team NS with 2 finishes. ATDC with a single finish. H47 without any finishes. Team SE the single finish, and then and next gen with a single finish. So that was it for the last match of today, for the last match of Northeast Pro Series wildcard round. Tongbrang Paikomba, this was the last match. There are no other matches after this, so I'm not sure which match you're waiting for. Probably you had a long sleep and you woke up right now. I just tell you this was the last match. There are no more matches after this. Okay, thank you guys.